wherever the eyes of the world are focused, wherever history is in the making, she is there.
Her name is Edna Everage, Dame Edna Everage, self-proclaimed giga-star of stage and screen for more than 50 years now. Her BBC talk show, The Dame Edna Experience, had 8 million viewers glued to their tellies on Saturday nights.
I loved it when you parted the Red Sea. Now,
to watch her flirt with.
You're looking at my Red Sea now. You won't be parting that possibly.
Briefly insult.
In this light, who do you look like, your mother or your dad?
What do you think?
I think you're your father's boy. I do. You're a Ron boy. You're certainly not a Nancy boy.
And occasionally eject her guests. Celebrities, as Edna might say, slightly less famous.
I was born in 1930 in Edinburgh.
And certainly less interesting and less glamorous than she.
Hello, darling!
When Dame Edna's first Broadway show opened a decade ago, Americans fell in love with her too.
She said, look at me, and I'm talking to you.
Irrepressible, opinionated, and wickedly, lovably, laugh out loud funny.
Do you live on an unpaved road, do you? No? I only say that. Looks as though you might have tried to put your makeup on in the car. Does it? Up a lazy river by the old mill run. That lazy, lazy river in the noonday sun.
Her latest foray onto the Great White Way, All About Me, in which she shares the stage with singer Michael Feinstein, was not a hit. In fact, it's closing today, after only a 2-week run. It's a subject that most performers would prefer not to talk about. But as you probably know by now, Dame Edna is not like most performers.
How do you do, Russ?
You look lovely.
I know a lot about you.
Oh, my goodness. Last week, even after the bad news, Dame Edna graciously agreed to talk with us about the show, her life, and, of course, her celebrity. Does this happen to you everywhere you go?
Everywhere I go,
A little background.
Excuse I?
Edna Everage first came into public view more than 50 years ago in Australia as a shy and rather shabby Melbourne housewife.
Edna was very badly dressed. She just wore things that I bought at a thrift shop, large size. Hairy legs, flat shoes, no makeup, just a bit of lipstick there, brown hair hanging down rather like this.
Without the makeup and the glasses, Edna is Barry Humphries, painter, writer, and collector of rare books, who invented Edna as a university skit. Does Edna like to read?
No, I don't think so. I think the Da Vinci Code.
To Humphries' surprise and annoyance, he says, people loved Edna right from the start.
I'd no intention of being an actor. I thought I was going to be a painter or a lawyer or something like that. I drifted into the theater. I still do. Every night.
You still just drift in?
I just drift in. And I drift across the stage. And sometimes I say to the audience, you know, I'm making this up as I go along. And they laugh, but it's true.
Mrs. Edna Everage.
Look at those beautiful gladies, Australia's national flower. Aren't they good?
Over the years, the shy Melbourne housewife morphed into an international star.
Hello, possums. Edna's my name. I'm a megastar. I'm a famous dame.
Complete with a made-up life story so real that Dame Edna's autobiography became a bestseller on non-fiction lists.
Mr. Norman Everage, husband of the world-famous actress Dame Edna Everage, passed away peacefully in London just about an hour ago.
The death of her fictional husband, Norm Everage, was even reported by a real BBC newscaster.
How are you feeling, Dame Edna?
What a stupid question.
Are you going to be doing your show tonight?
Certainly not. I've cancelled all engagements.
Do you miss your husband?
I missed him early on, you know, for the first couple of hours. But we've made a wonderful monument for him in Australia. It's a marble prostate. He had what's called a prostate murmur. Have you heard of that?
I've never heard of that, no.
Well, it's not a nice thing, and it got louder as he got older. And neighbours complained. They'd knock on the door at all hours. They'd say, "Would your husband please keep his prostate down?" And I would say to them, "I'm sorry." I said, "There's no volume control on it." I said, "There's a knob, but I'm not touching that."
To hear Dame Edna tell it, Barry Humphries' story of her origins is a lie, concocted by an unscrupulous manager trying to take credit for her celebrity.
He's a sad person. He's a failure. And he resents me. He resents the fact that I'm so popular. He couldn't do a lovely show that would run, well, in this case, days.
My next guest is a bit of a surprise. It's my manager, Barry Humphries.
It's an odd, sometimes dizzying game that has kept audiences off balance and laughing for decades. A high-wire act that Barry Humphries, married father of 4, rarely talks about in public, preferring to carry on with his own interests and let Dame Edna do the talking. Do you like Edna? Is she a nice
I've come
person?
around to her. She's not very nice, really.
She says she's nice.
She thinks she's nice.
It's my niceness. I pride myself on my niceness.
Have you always been a nice person?
I was born nice. When I was born in Australia, my mother was lying in bed, pretty well exhausted. I was a big child, Bubba. And she said, "What is it?" And the nurse said, "It's nice."
I've been very busy adopting a baby. I have a lovely little chubby chocolate-coloured kitty from a...
What is fun is, for a foreigner like me who loves the United States, everything about it, is to play around with your political correctness, because this new Puritanism is so strong. So you're shockable.
She's a beautiful little girl. Her name is... That's her name.
Edna says what they dare not say. She speaks her mind. Her observations, very often quite prejudiced, are sometimes rather acute.
Does she ever go too far? Does she ever
Yes,
cross that
always.
line? Always.
But never to the point of alienating the audience or hurting them.
I adore illegal immigrants. Where would America be without them? One of the advantages of a democracy, of course, is you can have a slave class with a clear conscience, can't you?
Barry, how much of you is in Edna from a personality
not
standpoint?
much,
Really? Are you totally different people?
I don't have anything in common with her. I disagree with almost everything she says. I certainly couldn't stand on stage as myself for 2 hours every night and talk to an audience.
But Dame Edna does, and sings and dances in high heels as well. She revels exuberantly in her outrageous celebrity, and the audience plays along. Barry Humphries does as well, a bit more reluctantly. Edna is so much more famous than you are, than Barry Humphries is. Does that bother you at all?
Well, it does mean I have to mention her name if I want to get a good table in a restaurant.